Well, we'll cross back to James Gerrish now joining us to discuss these results that have hit the markets this morning. James, hope you can hear us here on the program. Which were the results that have stood out to you most? There have been some really sharp moves in both directions on the local markets.
Yeah, they have. It's obviously a big day on the reporting front today, and we've seen some big variance in results. So, on the positive side, I think Goodman Group was a really strong result, particularly in terms of their FY21 outlook. They increased their guidance by, they're going to get profit growth of about 10% in FY21. The market was about 8%, so that's obviously a positive one. The AMP result, the underlying result wasn't that crash hot, but they came out and are paying a dividend. They're doing a decent share buyback, so the stock's popping on the back of that. And I thought Treasury Wine Estates was actually a pretty good, update, not in terms of the result because they'd pre-released it, but just in terms of the commentary around things starting to show a little bit of improvement in China. So those are good. Breville on the downside was, we kind of seeing that play out in the market today, guys.
Okay, so the thematics, I suppose, that we see emerging. You mentioned Goodman Group there, so that's in the industrial. Not totally, but it's leveraging that sort of distribution e-commerce narrative. And then you've got Charter Hall Retail, which is off by 2%. It's talking about tenant rent relief that it's had to provide. It really is, the emergence of these pandemic themes in some of the results today, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and I think one of the interesting one I touched on Breville before. So Breville have got really strong top line growth. So they beat market expectations. They came in at about 952 odd million at the sales line. The market was at 940. But you look at the profitability numbers, and they're lower than where the market was anticipating, and we're seeing margin pressure there. So costs are rising in a business like that. Goodman Group have got this history of beating in terms of their results. They are benefiting from the online shopping experience, etc. QBE's up on today as well. I didn't think that result was crash hot, but they're talking up, premium increases again. So it was a really mixed bag today, guys. And some of the stocks that have been under pressure are delivering less bad results and rallying strongly on the back of it.
Is that really on the back of the market forces at the moment? There have been so many bears on stocks like QBE. We've had a lot of analysts really have a hard sell on this stock. Is that the reason why there's a bit of relief on the back of even mediocre results?
Yeah, well, our analyst is one of those who beat QBE up pretty regularly. So, I mean, you've got, they recorded a big loss. The loss was anticipated. They talk about, the market seems to fixate itself on premium increases in QBE. So they're saying QBE have a really strong history of saying, last half was poor. We've had, this happen to hurt our profitability, but going forward, we're going to increase our premiums and that's going to support our margins, etc. So, the other thing that's probably supporting QBE is a rise in bond yields. Bond yields have started to tickle off the bottom of, recent levels. So that's supportive of QBE. As well, but to me, I wouldn't get too enthusiastic about QBE post today's result, guys.
Yeah, Evolution Mining is another one I think is worthwhile mentioning. Shares are up by about 1.8%. Gold, just rising marginally through the overnight period, but it looks like the market is liking what it sees. Hard not to when you've got the gold price at a premium. You've got all-in sustaining cost forecasts for FY 2022 between 1,220, 1,280 for Evolution. I know you guys like this one at Shaw and Partners, but when do you get to the point where you start to fade the rally in some of these names?
Well, you buy gold stocks because you've got the view that the gold price is going to go up. So, Evolution, they produced a very good quarterly that dovetails into a good full year result. So, there was nothing really too new in terms of today's update. The gold price is going to be supported, I think, by the thematic around negative real interest rates. So, the fact that we're probably going to see, inflation, etc., tick along higher than what interest rates are for the foreseeable future. The cost of carry is really low, so you're not losing a lot of interest in a bank account. So then, if you go and invest in a non-interest bearing asset like gold, so. To me, I think, with the risks that are out there, you'd even throw in, the potential for inflation down the track. We're putting a huge amount of stimulus in the system. whether or not that'll have inflationary pressures down the track. So, for me, I think gold goes higher from here. It's a really, it's a hot market at the moment. It's a hot trade at the moment. We saw, bouts of short-term weakness in the last couple of days. But for me, gold goes higher, so Evolution goes higher, and the rest of the gold complex follows as well, guys.
All right, James, I know you've got a lot on, but just a final thought about the day that we might have here in Australia. We've got, the local market pushing a bit higher in early trade. Lots happening around 11:30 with the jobs data. How do you see this day sort of playing out given all the reports we've just discussed?
Yeah, the jobs data is going to be interesting, just so insofar as there's a huge gap between what analysts are expecting around the jobs data. So basically, what that says is no one has any idea. So, there's some out there expecting a really strong print, and that could change the whole dynamic of the market and the rhetoric around what we're seeing in job losses, etc. So, look, reporting season is all about the stocks and what stocks are doing. We've had some good results today, and some of these beaten down names are popping on the back of it. So my focus is really around the stocks. I'll be interested. I think InvoCare was expected to release first half numbers today. I think that'd be an interesting one. Super Retail Group is a stock we've got across portfolios. That's also releasing full year numbers, but they have pre-released from a trading update a couple of weeks ago. So all about stocks today, guys, as always.
Love it. We haven't seen anything coming from Super Retail just yet, but we're keeping our eyes trained on the wires, as I know you are, James. We'll let you get back to it. Thank you.
See you guys.
James Gerrish, Shaw and Partners.